Welcome back, guys. We are at it again. We are installing a carbon fiber trunk on the 8.6. It is the VIS SS trunk, and basically I'm taking apart the stock trunk and we're gonna swap some stuff over and hopefully it's gonna go okay. As you can see here, I'm basically just disconnecting everything from the OEM trunk. This is the little connector that goes into the latch, which I've already removed. It's down there. So the white connector that you saw on the trunk connects here to the factory latch. And then once you disconnect that, there are a couple little push tabs. You just have to push them through the trunk. And then once you push them through, it frees up the cable, as you can see here. These connectors right here, this is a little plug that goes up in the little hole right there. I popped that out with a flathead screwdriver. This came out of the latch. This connector goes into here. This is for your license plate light, which I've already pulled the tab and loosened that from the trunk. So this one is loose as well and dangly. I've disconnected this one from here because we have a big light in a small little opening. We had to take off the nuts that were up here, and over on the other side to take off the trim piece to the trunk. This wire will then feed through the back down here, and I pulled out the rubber grommet.
What did you have to do to pull out the rubber grommet?
I used man strength. Okay, here we go. We're gonna shimmy, shimmy, shimmy down here. Shimmy, shimmy, Cocoa Puffs. And then we just dangle this in the trunk, because we will be putting that back into the trunk. It's a carbon trunk, that is. And there's two, there's a third one.
What size socket are you using?
8mm. And I was hoping that this was gonna work because some of these threaded studs are pretty long, and I only have a little shorty. So I had to use a wrench on one of them because one of these posts was longer than the other two. There's 3 posts. The middle one was longer, so I had to use a wrench on that one to take that one off. Because with a long post, it won't go down inside the short socket, which if you work on cars, you know this stuff. So I took the 3 nuts off to hold on to the factory trim piece, that way we can get the license plate lights out. I dropped the license plate lights in the trunk, and now I'm just putting the 3 nuts back on the trim piece, back on the stock trunk, because why have it apart? Then we will remove the shocks from the trunk and then take off the bolts. To remove the shock, there is retaining clips. We are going to remove this top one, then take off these bolts. On the bottom, you can finesse it, your flathead in there. Yeah,
Look at that.
look at that, pops right off. Yeah, let's gently put that there.
So you're just shimming that one off?
Shimmying it off. If you pop it off, it closes back together. So now I gotta figure out how to pry that apart to put that back on.
Oh crap.
Yeah. I need to hold the trunk while I take these bolts out to make sure that the trunk does not hit the wrap.
Okay, so Rob didn't tell me when we started this install that the longer you have the trunk off, the more your chances increase for your ECU to not read the trunk or have it ever work again. So we gotta be fast about this. Let's go. So we're just reusing the stock hardware. That's cool that it came already drilled. Yep. Your retention clip pops off.
You're screwed.
You're not screwed. I fixed the retention pin by simply taking the needle nose pliers, hooking one side, and then pulling the other side until it clicked. Kind of like hooking a fish.
There are bolts in here. I gotta take this trim piece off to put the lights back on.
Sometimes when purchasing aftermarket parts, especially body kits, you're going to run into the issue of things not being perfectly aligned. Let's see, holes will be misdrilled, spaces for lights will not be big enough. This is a prime example of needing to take extra steps, and this is why you should always take your parts to a qualified professional. things can go wrong. If you do feel confident enough to do it yourself at home, please make sure that you're safe.
There's a stud in here.
That's not letting me through.
Now it is. So I figured out VIS's method to their madness on why the factory trim piece had 3 studs and this trim piece on the Carbon has 4. It's because the one on the furthest on this side, on the passenger side, that stud you're supposed to use as kind of like a post for the hole for the locking mechanism. Once you put the lock up there and put the post through the hole, you'll be able to use the washer and the nut and securely fasten and actually position it how it's supposed to be.
Moment of truth. We have to make sure it works, dude.
Oh, yeah. Popper.
Ooh.
That's good.
Congratulations, Rob. You are the new owner of a beautiful carbon fiber trunk.
Thank you. VIS SS trunk. Available on our website, www.9livery.com.
It's not available there.
Why?
We don't have VIS on our website.
Oh, we don't. Until we have it on our website, just shoot us a DM on Instagram or Facebook.
We apologize for the lack of scenery, but we're tired.
Yeah.
And we're gonna do a couch outro.
Yeah.
A couchtro!
We're doing a couchtro.
Alright, what are the most important things that you have to say to somebody doing this installation?
The VIS carbon trunk is actually really great quality, great fitment as we saw as we were done. To anybody attempting this install that hasn't ever installed a trunk before, I would just recommend taking your time and paying close attention to the bolts and nuts that you remove from the OEM trunk and kind of keep them in a safe place. You don't want to misplace anything, and that way, you know, just being more organized will help you actually just reinstall everything. The OEM trunk trim piece only had 3 posts, and there was some nuts on those posts. The VIS one had 4. We figured out that the post on the driver's side, you use that post and put that post inside one of the holes for the factory lock. And then once you tighten that, don't over tighten it. I guess that's my next thing, is don't over tighten it because you are putting metal into fiberglass. Use a ratchet, but just take it slow. Never use power tools on this or you're gonna strip things out. And if you strip out fiberglass, you're screwed. Basically, when you're tightening a bolt into fiberglass, you wanna just take it slow. And then once you start hearing little tiny cracks and if it feels like it's snug, you're done. Don't tighten it anymore.
Right.
If you need to, check it in a week or 2 or once a month. Sometimes they will back off and loosen a little bit, so just double check it.
We had his trunk off for 2 hours, just as he anticipated. It still works as we saw, and it looks amazing.
It was pretty straightforward. I've done trunks before in the past. I've done hoods. Then it's pretty much you remove and you just put back in reverse order. It's super straightforward.
So gut it and then
put it back.
Put it back?
I did have to get the Dremel out for one of my license plate lights though, because the driver's side one was a little too small. So I had to do a little minor chisel, I guess, you know, to that little hole or whatever. And then the light now fits in there. That's with anything aftermarket. Doesn't matter if it's Pandem, it doesn't matter if it's VIS, Sabon, whatever. You will have to modify things slightly, where you should only have to modify things slightly. If you buy crap quality, you're like, oh, I don't want to spend that much money on that product, and you buy a super cheap brand, good luck, because you're going to have to probably add some fiberglass, probably cut it. You're going to have to do some major fabrication, and if you have no experience with that, I do not recommend that.
Yeah, that's when you take it to a professional and you pay that extra that you cheaped out on.
Exactly, pretty much. With aftermarket body parts, like, you know, carbon, you know, fenders, whatever it is, if you cheap out from the beginning, you will end up paying for it later. The trunk looks awesome. I recommend the trunk. It fits awesome. And I can't wait to see it tomorrow in the daylight and we get some more pictures. I'll put those up on Instagram. And what else? Anything else? Visit our website for all of your needs. DM us for VIS because right now it's not on the website. It will be soon enough. We're catching up. There's a lot of work. Always more, which is always good because it means more content and more growth. True. True.
So thank you guys as usual for watching.
We'll see you next time. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Check out our website. Follow us on Instagram. Peace out.
Keep it clean.
And have fun modding, guys.
Bye.
Peace.
They're still there.
Oh, go away.